President Trump was recently on, and millions tune into Newsmax every night. Greg asks the tough questions you want. Watch Greg Kelly at 7 p.m. Eastern or the rebroadcast. Newsmax is on all major cable systems and free on Roku, Zumo, YouTube, Pluto, and TVs like Samsung and LG. If your cable company doesn't carry Newsmax, call them and say you can switch if they don't carry it. Watch Newsmax today.
Sherry Preston, ABC News.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gellner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gellnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Calls and conversations continue in less than 3 minutes as the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues after this.
It's the Christmas traditions that make this time of year so special. Like spending time with family and friends, the spirit of giving, remembering our blessings.
May your holidays be truly bright. Merry Christmas from Main Street Bank.
Menards is your bathroom remodeling headquarters. Start with over 400 tubs, showers, and surrounds from Lions. They're beautiful, durable, and simple to install. Update your bathroom and save big money on the best selection of tubs, showers, and surrounds from Lions, now at Menards. Prices good through December 13th. Plus, a Menards gift card is always a great gift idea.
Season's greetings to you all from Menards.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Throughout the Ohio Valley, back to school is looking different. Each day, parents, teachers, students, coaches, and administrators are finding solutions to situations that are unprecedented. All of us at the Highlands appreciate everything you are doing and are here for the items you need. Visit hitthehighlands.com for the current guidelines and updated contact information of our retailers and restaurants.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Get $2 off appetizers, $3 off domestic drafts, and house wine specials. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA.
In a hurry and need to see a doctor? The Woodsdale Health Center and Walk-In Clinic is located across from Little Caesars on National Road. Open 7 to 7 Monday through Friday. Patients can receive primary care, treatment of minor illnesses and injuries, wellness visits and physicals. There's also a lab draw station open from 8 to noon weekdays. A division of Wheeling Hospital, the Woodsdale Health Center is led by family physician Dr. Michael Wilson. Call 304-234-1971. They'll take good care of you.
Have a festive adventure at Wheeling's Historic Center Market. Discover a unique mix of specialty shops and quality eateries. Hunt for the perfect gift or gift card at Center Market. Find everything from art, antiques, coffees, wine and craft beers, cigars and fine olive oils, to fresh seafood, local honey, jewelry, vintage decor, toys, and clothing. Meet friends and explore this iconic holiday shopping destination. Experience Wheeling's Historic Center Market.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Clouds and sunshine mixing throughout the day. An afternoon high near 41. Mostly cloudy through the overnight with temperatures down to about 24. You'll see mostly cloudy skies for your Thursday with highs in the mid-40s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning, old friends.
Hey, what are you doing here? About to go on the air.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Wake up, fairy princesses, wake up!
Guess what day it is?
Get up before I get you up!
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hump day.
Woo-hoo!
This is Wednesday. She calls it over the hump day.
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
We ain't one at a time in here. They broadcast me out on the radio. We're mass communicating.
Let Wednesday begin.
Hit it!
News, information, conversation, controversy, and fun. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Good morning and welcome to Wednesday here on the Watchdog Morning Show. After an extended holiday and then a medical day off yesterday, I'm back in the saddle again. And we'll catch up on some of the news we didn't have a chance to talk about, like the Super 6 and dog racing at the Downs and hospitals getting COVID crowded. I've got a complete update on local COVID numbers for you. Thanksgiving travel is over, but now thoughts turn to Christmas. And travel writer Pete Trabucco, who's been with us before, is back with some tips and best practices for traveling during the holiday season. In our DC Digest, there's an investigation into a presidential pardon for pay for pardon scandal, which I don't fully understand just yet. A Tea Party group wants Trump to declare martial law. Attorney General Bill Barr says the election was fair. The Department of Justice, as I said, investigating possible pay for presidential pardons. All of this coming up in the DC Digest. Plus, on the lighter side of life, the $106 hamburger, sex and underwear for sale on airline, the multiple mysterious monoliths in the desert, and much more. The legislative watchdogs come in at 9, and they'll be here for you at 9 o'clock today. So that's what's coming up from me to ye. If you want to talk a little bit yourself, you can do it. The phone line is open, 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK. Feel free to use it as you choose. And, of course, much easier and more frequently used is our text line, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600, and just buzz through on the text line. I'll share your thoughts with our audience once Biff and I get a chance to read them, make sure they are legal and that they are clean. Other than that, unless the mood strikes me to not read them, other than that, most of the time, you get yourself on the radio. Let's see, going to begin to be a cloudy day. Looks like we may clear up a little bit later on in the day. Temperature is going to get up to around 40, I guess, but currently we're nowhere near there. We're at 30 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport with a feels-like temperature of 20 degrees, feels like, and it's cloudy outside. Those are the temps at the airport here at my home studio and at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Brother Biff, it's hard for me to believe it's been a week since we've talked.
That week just flew by.
I said goodbye last Wednesday, and then I'm not back until today. Had a little medical issue yesterday, had to stay away for an extra day. I'd planned to be back yesterday, but I want to thank Paul Harris for filling in on Monday. I appreciate that, and Brother Biff for sort of pulling all kinds of things together yesterday to keep you all informed in the morning with the morning news and so on. So that's good. So therefore, I have another chance to ask you, how was your Thanksgiving? Did it go well last week, Biff?
Yeah, it was a good Thanksgiving. Just had one, and that was at Dad's house. Mom didn't have Thanksgiving. Couple people weren't feeling too good, and Mom just decided, you know what, we're gonna be cautious, and unfortunately cancel this year. So just had dinner at Dad's house, and then Friday, Notre Dame played North Carolina, so at about the start of the second half, we went into the refrigerator and pulled out all the leftovers and put them in the microwave for a couple minutes and had leftovers and watched football on Friday.
Leftovers and football. That's what Thanksgiving, later in the day on Thanksgiving is, leftovers and football, right?
Yeah, that was about it. So, no, it was just a good long good long weekend. Nice to have a couple days off to recharge for a little bit and get ready for the Christmas and end of the year run.
Yeah, the first couple of days, it was kind of nice. It was almost too long a vacation for me. It's not a vacation. I didn't do anything, of course, but I mean, Thursday was somewhat busy. I'll talk about that in a second. Then Friday, and then came Saturday, and then it's like, well, I still got 2 more days to go before I get back to work. So I was really ready to get back to work yesterday. Then I had, I mentioned to Brother Biff off the air a minute or two ago. You may hear some coughing today. I've got some issues again. What scared me was the doctor had wanted to put me in the hospital for a while earlier, like on Monday. Said, I think maybe you should go to the hospital. I looked at the calendar, Biff, and this was the week a year ago I went into the hospital for 14 days.
Yes, it was. It would have been.
I didn't want to do that. It was just, really, do we have to do that? He goes, well, no, we'll do some other things first. And then, and that was the same day, actually, that the information about Wheeling Hospital being full of COVID and having a hard time because so many of their COVID-related employees are on quarantine. I was told that Wheeling Hospital's COVID beds, well, let me rephrase that. Almost half of all the beds at Wheeling Hospital are now being used as COVID beds of one kind or another. And I just thought, bad juju going into the hospital a year after I went in there a year ago. And B, I just didn't want to get into that, into that pit of COVID that's over there. So I did have to get some blood work done. And I went into the hospital, just walked in. I normally walk in and they check you at the door. They check me double anymore because I made fun of them one time. But they check me at the door and then, send me off to the lab. And I go back to the lab and I get out as quick as I can. But I walked in, I could tell the place was really crowded. And before I even got to the registration area, the registration lady says, the lab is full. Nobody go back. You give us your phone number. We'll call you this afternoon when we have time for you to come in, or you can go somewhere else. So I did, and I'm mentioning this only because I want you, my listening audience, to think this is a possibility for you. I decided to go down to the Stone Center, where they have an urgent care office. Wheeling Hospital has their urgent care office in the old Stone Center.
Yeah.
And boy, it was smooth as silk. I mean, I walked in, said who I was. They pulled up the information they had from my doctor. Took me back, quick registration, walked around back, did the blood draw. I was out in like 5 minutes. My wife drove me, so she just drove up and parked in front of the Stones building there. And anyway, I've been kind of not wanting to do that. I know we're promoting it. It's one of our advertisements anymore, or for these, the Woodsdale Clinic and the urgent care downtown, both parts of Wheeling Hospital. But I'm one of these guys, I always like to go right into the hospital. I'm going to go to the urgent care anymore. Quick, fast, easy, new, clean. Highly recommended. Just if you don't need to go to the hospital for a specific purpose, and you can go to one of these other places, go to it. It was just very easy. In fact, I have to go in today for some X-rays, and my doctor says, "Well, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to the hospital or?" They do it at the urgent care. So no, just send me to the urgent care. I'll go down there and do that. So I just wanted to mention that. Now back to Thanksgiving Day for just a minute. I really was depressed. I'll be honest. I mean, seriously, I was depressed on Thanksgiving Day. As you know, I had not planned. We couldn't have our whole family in. Just too big. Period. We can't physically, socially distance in this house. And just I'm antsy about COVID. But we expected to have my oldest son and daughter-in-law, and of course little Teddy, my little buddy, here. And so we had ordered from Bob Evans the big, yes, Governor Justice, I want you to know I'm still going to Bob Evans.
Keeping them in business.
I guess, and making the governor happy, because I sometimes wonder, does he have like a share of that or something? He's always telling people to go to Bob Evans. Anyway, so we ordered the big meal because it was going to be the group of us. And so we had the big meal, ham and turkey and mashed potatoes and dressing and green beans and cranberries and 2 pies and all that kind of good stuff. And then my oldest son had been exposed to COVID at his office. And he and my daughter-in-law and my little buddy all had to go get COVID testing. And it was right before Thanksgiving, and they didn't get the results back till afterwards. So it was just my wife and I. It was really depressing. I mean, I was actually literally physically depressed. And so instead of eating around the Thanksgiving table with a crowd of people, we ate on tray tables in the living room watching old episodes of The West Wing. It just wasn't the same. And I really missed my little buddy. So it was not the happiest of Thanksgivings for me. And for quite a few days afterwards, we couldn't see. He came down to the house yesterday. Finally, they got their tests back, and all of them are negative. They're all COVID clean. So little buddy came down yesterday, and we played a little bit. But so we've had to even play via FaceTime. He has a Clue game, and so he FaceTime. Granddad, let's play Clue, and he gets the Clue game out at his house, and I have copies of little paper that you need to play with, and so we play it on FaceTime. So I had to play with my little buddy for almost a whole week just on. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. I'll be glad when the vaccine comes, Biff.
I think a lot of people will be.
I've joked before that what I really miss is lunch, and I do, but it's just this whole business of being so concerned all the time and not Thanksgiving without anybody now, without literally nobody, just my wife and I. It's very depressing. So anyway, that was my holiday. I just share that with you. So, all right, 7:21, 21 after the hour. Now, there were some important stories that came across the wires, as they say, while I was gone. I want to talk about that coming up in just a minute. These will be kind of sort of leftovers in the real news world, but we haven't been together and talked about them. So I want to pick up on a couple of things. I'll do that coming up in just a moment here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Join me on the text line, 304-214-1600. Use the CityNet hotline at 304-232-8255, and I'm happy to chat. 30 degrees at the airport, feels like 20 degrees, cloudy skies outside.
From the Watchdog Network, right now traffic. Here's the latest from the Robinson Auto Group Traffic Center.
Prices good through December 13th. Plus, a Menards gift card is always a great gift idea.
Season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Oh, there's something so real about living local. And I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I love living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
In a world where Nailers hockey starts in December, where seating is very limited, and mini plans or season tickets are just a phone call away, are you ready? Call 304-234-GOAL. Call the Wheeling Nailers office for details. 304-234-GOAL. The Return, opening December 12th.
Highland Sports Complex is the coolest destination for sports and entertainment the Ohio Valley has ever seen. Pop in for some open basketball in our field house or reserve some turf time for your next practice or game on our synthetic fields. Online registration is open for development classes and leagues for youth and adults. Highland Sports is also the hottest destination for birthday parties and other events. So come challenge yourself on our play climb and enjoy your favorite virtual reality game in the arcade. No memberships required, so visit highlandsports.com to find your next entertainment experience and get ready to reach new heights.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together we will get through this.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Wednesday. Clouds and sunshine mixing throughout the day. An afternoon high near 41. Mostly cloudy through the overnight with temperatures down to about 24. You'll see mostly cloudy skies for your Thursday with highs in the mid-40s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
Hi, this is Hoppy Kercheval. Join me weekdays at 10:06 right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe for Statewide Talkline. I'll have guests, conversations, texts, phone calls, and all the big stories affecting West Virginia. So tune in weekdays right here on FM 98.1 and FM 97.7, The Watchdog.
Watch out! He could climb on his soapbox at any time. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
7:27 and 30 degrees here on a Wednesday edition of our big gig. Brother Biff behind the board. I'm Howard Monroe. Biffy, when we were together last, a week ago, we were wondering who's going to be the Super 6 champions. So tell me, pal, who are the Super 6 champions? What teams were the final winners?
Well, last week we, again, because of the map and everything that went on, kind of like we thought could happen, well, it did happen last week. You had the, in Class Single A, St. Mary's beat Pendleton County, which turned out to be the Class A state championship game. So St. Mary's won Single A, and over in Double A.
By default.
By default, yes, by default, because of Ritchie County being red, and they would have been St. Mary's opponent, but again, with Ritchie County turning red, that automatically put that game, the St. Mary's Pendleton County game, as your unofficial championship game. So St. Mary's won that game. Then you had in Double A, and the one that we thought could have been the most legit out of the three championship games, Fairmont Senior ended up beating Bluefield. And unfortunately for Oak Glen, and of all the ways for this to happen, we kept saying we need Hancock County to turn gold on the map for them to play their game with Robert Seabird on Sunday. Hancock County did turn gold, However, Robert C. Byrds County, which is Harrison County, on the map on Saturday turned orange, with Harrison County turning orange because they had to wait for Oak Glen to see what Hancock County would do, because they were the team that waited. When they turned orange, that eliminated both Oak Glen and RCB. So your AA championship game, just like in single A, your unofficial one, was Fairmont Senior beating Bluefield for the AA title. Then in...
By default.
By default, yes. Because of the map and the way that stipulation that they put in which was which is ridiculous. And then in AAA, you had South Charleston by default winning a championship without having to play a game because the because the county that I think they were playing Bridgeport. So or Musselman, I forget which one it is now, but whoever they were playing, their county had turned orange, and the other game, I think both those counties were in a color that they couldn't play either. So South Charleston automatically, by default, wins a state championship without having to play a championship game.
So not a single championship game was played on the field.
Which would have been this weekend at Laidley Field down in Charleston. Yeah. So
but they've canceled them.
They have canceled them. So yes. So last week your two semifinal games turned into de facto championship games in single A and double A. And then the map just completely wiped out the rest of triple A, which left South Charleston as your champion in triple A. And again, we remember we talked about that last week as a possibility when we looked at the map before we left. We said, hey, there's a possibility this could happen. And never did I think, and again, I feel bad for Oak Glen and Coach Arnaud Jr. because, they did everything they possibly could to get their county to where they needed to be. However, and unfortunately, Robert C. Byrds County turned orange. And again, with that stipulation that was put in, which, in my opinion, was ridiculous, eliminated both Oak Glen and RCB. Or we would have probably had Fairmont Senior and Oak Glen playing for the AA championship. But instead, we don't even have a game this weekend in Charleston.
Let me begin by saying I like Bernie Dole. I mean, I really do. I like Bernie. Wheeling Boy, of course, was a key part of the sports world up here before he became the SSAC director. His mom used to be a listener to this show, one of my oldest and longtime listeners. So I really like Bernie. But, he said to Hoppy Show, he was on Hoppy on Monday, and he said, we knew there was a chance all along this could happen. Well, then why didn't they just pull the pin early? I mean, Biff, you and I just sitting here sort of rambling around in the radio saw what was coming.
Oh, we
can argue whether the map should control. We can argue whether the regulations are ridiculous or not ridiculous, but it's what we had to live with. You could see it was coming. Why not just, they went to all the effort to decide to move the games from Wheeling to Charleston.
Which, by the way, and this should be mentioned, the contract that Wheeling has, this won't count towards that contract.
So, the contract's extended a year, basically.
Yes, and I believe it is through 2024, the Super 6. So this won't count as a year towards that contract. Yes, it does get extended a year. So,
but and I know not everybody agrees with me on this, but you could see it coming. Just go ahead and pull the pin early. And the other thing that Bernie Dolan said on the talk line on Monday, when he was asked by Hoppy if, will these teams who are the, I'm using air quotes here, champions, will there be an asterisk beside them in the rec? No. We will not put an asterisk beside. We'll count them as actual champion. Well, they're not. I mean, I don't mean to diminish. I don't mean to diminish any of the kids who played. I don't want to do, but they're not.
When you win,
they're not state champions. They didn't play. We didn't have a state championship. We didn't have multiple state championship games. We didn't have quarterfinal. We didn't have. It just at the very. Why would you got to put an asterisk beside them over the year, right?
Well, starting Triple A.
Wheeling Central with all of Wheeling Central's the championship games, and they will be in the same category as some of these folks who won purely because they managed to stick it out long enough.
Well, Howard,
I don't get that.
Think about Triple A. South Charleston, for one, they didn't have to go through Martinsburg, who was the four-time defending state champions. There's a good possibility they would have played. I think either their second round game or their semifinal game, they would have had to gone through Wheeling Park. So they missed out on playing Martinsburg and Wheeling Park in Triple A. You look at Single A, start with St. Mary's for one, and I know I'm a homer and I bleed maroon. They wouldn't have even got past the first round because Wheeling Central would have eliminated them in the first round. I guarantee you that. So number one, St. Mary's they didn't have to face Central. They didn't have to face Williamstown. And I think those were the only two left that would have been their competition.
And the simple fact is, in Single A, two of the best teams in the state over the years, Central and Williamstown, didn't even make it into the first round of the playoffs because of this silly map stuff. So, I mean, two of the best teams didn't even get a chance to even get a chance to make an effort at it. So how can you then say who won the Single A?
St. Mary's.
Won.
Yeah, put that in quotes.
How can you say they're the Single A champions when two of the best teams in the state weren't even allowed to get into the game? It's silly. It's dumb. And this will be the last time we'll get into it because it's over and done with now. But they should have just pulled the pin early and just said, look, we're just going to, we're going to skip it this year. We talked about this before, Biffy, you and I talked about this before. Did that with the girls, with the basketball championship.
Yeah, or
they pulled the pin before the championships and they said, we're not going to have one this year.
Or in May and June when Ohio figured out what they were going to do. Again, they could have called the officials over in Ohio and figured out a way to make it work here in West Virginia. Again, Ohio held 7 championships over a 2-week period. They figured it out.
And you just have to wonder, I'm always, not conspiracy exactly, but I'm always wondering to myself, how much did politics, small p, not Republican, Democrat, but small p politics get involved? Bernie Dolan said, well, we don't make the decision by ourselves. Bill Crouch, the DHHR commissioner, gets involved, and the health department gets involved, and the governor gets involved. I don't know. You just have to. Anyway, last time I'll talk about it for the time being, but that was just ridiculous. Just the whole thing was ridiculous. You could see it coming. Bernie even said he saw it. We could see this coming at the beginning of the season. Or not the beginning of the season, but the beginning of before the championships got started. We could see it coming. Well, then just you saw it coming. And it didn't take a genius. And I know it didn't take a genius, Biff, because you and I figured it out.
Well,
it didn't take a genius to see that the maps were all going the wrong way, and we were not going to get any better before the championship games were being played. So just pull the pin. Pull the pin.
You know who else
knew? For God's sake, put an asterisk besides these kids. I don't want to harm the kids. I mean, I want the kids to be able to say, I'm a state champion. I get that, but you can't. It's not fair to compare them to state champions of years gone by who actually won games.
You know who else figured it out? Steve in St. C.
Well, he has some strong opinions on this whole thing. There's no question about that.
Good morning, Mr. Monroe.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Well, first of all, thank you for at least bringing this topic up, because I feel like talk shows across the state are even afraid to ask Bernie Dolan a question. They're afraid that they're not going to get Bernie on their show ever again if they question what he says. That interview Monday was a disaster with Hoppy.
I didn't hear it. I only read it, so I didn't.
You can actually go back and listen to it on Hop's page there. But I got to tell you, when Hoppy asked him about the no asterisk thing, and I just heard you say that, I wanted to shake my head. I wanted to bang it off my desk. He said, these three champions that I'm naming did everything right. Well, what did Wheeling Park and Wheeling Central do wrong?
Do wrong, exactly.
Right. That's the question you have to ask, because these two schools actually did everything right above and beyond what you asked them to do from August 1st on. They stayed away. These kids didn't go out on the weekends. They didn't do this wrong. To sit there and tell me St. Mary's did everything right is a slap. The only reason we didn't play is because we live in a fairly, I guess, hustle and bustle county where we're probably going to have more cases here of the COVID. We have more people. And it was
I don't think it's even fair to say, and I don't mean, again, I'm trying to be real careful not to in any way diminish the kids who did make it through and are, quote, champions. But I don't know that they did anything. They didn't do anything right. They didn't do anything.
Right.
They just sat and waited for the map to come out.
Yeah, some of those teams didn't play some games. They were afforded a victory because another county was a certain Keller on Jim Justice's map. That let's face it, that map is a piece of crap. It really is. The states, every state that circles us played their championships. And I know someone's going to say, well, Virginia didn't. Well, they're going to play in the spring. To me, at this point, you and I think you said it, pause the tournament. If the first round, when 12 teams are eliminated because you can't play, just pause the tournament. You could pick it up. When things get better in the spring or whenever, I mean, he said that day, there's a vaccine coming December 12th. I mean, well, let's wait for the vaccine then. Let's see what it does.
Well, I'm going to take a different approach. I don't know that you can pause it. I'm not sure that pausing it and playing it later makes any sense. Just make a decision early on that this is a year. It's going to be a year of no tournament. You had it with the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it a year with no tournament this year. No, there's no Super Six this year. And I get that is many teams will be sad about that. But again, how can you claim that you're the champion? Just again, let's just look at single A.
Yeah.
When you have two of the best teams in the state year after year after year after year, Central and Williamstown, who didn't even make it into the first round because of the map. How can you claim that you're the...
Williamstown beat St. Mary's by 2 touchdowns during the season. They beat them.
So how can you claim that you're the champion? So I'm happy to call them champions, and they want to take the trophy and have a parade in their town. Go for it. I'm okay.
And then
when it comes time for the history books, the record books, let's put an asterisk beside it.
And how about Dave Wilson followed St. Mary's all day on Sunday or Saturday, whenever that was, and filmed the whole thing, and they put a video out there of the kids reading the Bernie Dolan tweet around 7 or 8 o'clock that named them state champions. I really wanted to puke. I did. I mean, and these kids are jumping up and down on turf celebrating a state championship. It didn't play. I mean, it's like, come on. And I know the kids from St. Mary's didn't do anything wrong. Coach Moat did nothing wrong. Coach Moat is one of the best guys you're going to find from St. Mary's. I like the guy a ton. But you can't do what they did.
No.
Can I tell you one thing before I finish? The Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care at the Stone Center, what an amazing place. I heard you say that earlier. I've done blood work there, and I took my kid there for a physical. In and out within minutes. So if anybody's looking for anything, that's the place to go.
Well,
have a great day.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. I kind of shied away from it. I don't know why. I like to go to the hospital, but the hospital, when I went in to get blood work done on Monday, they said, no mas. No, you can't come in here. Go away. They were sending people away. tell them to come back, go somewhere else. Or they would get your phone number and they would actually call you in the afternoon and say, well, I think we might have some room in the lab now. So we did good. And I will always do the urgent care downtown from now on for anything that they can do. And I talked to the woman who did the blood draw, the nurse who did the blood draw for me. And she said, I'm lonely all day long. Nobody's here. We're here all day long. We got a brand new facility, clean, modern, up to date, bright, and well staffed, and nobody comes. So I'm going to tell you, go.
Best kept secret in town.
And it keeps you out of well, it is, and it keeps you from, again, we'll talk later on, because one of the stories we missed was Wheeling Hospital's announcement that they've got some significant COVID cases there, and they're having harder trouble because of COVID staff being quarantined and so on. So the hospital's got a lot of COVID in to begin with. As I said earlier, my understanding is over half of the beds that they have at Wheeling Hospital right now are assigned to COVID activity. So stay away from that. Just go down to urgent care. Biffy, let's pull an audible here if we can. Do we have Aaron with us?
Yeah, we do have Aaron.
Let's do him first, then we'll do the news after that. Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah, that's good.
So I don't have to make the poor guy wait.
Yep.
He had to suffer through Paul Harris earlier this week. I don't want to have him cause too much more problem. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Okay, I feel good. Back to work after a long break there for the holidays, but I'm back, and I'm so. Tell me what's going on outside today. Is it? I haven't even looked outside because I broadcast from home these days. Is it snowing? Are we expecting more snow, or is the snow activity all gone now?
Oh no, yeah, we're done with that. Yeah, that's luckily it's like pushed off to like central Pennsylvania now. So yeah, we're just chilling with the snow that's still on the ground. But like today is just going to be freezing outside still. I think it said the temperature is like 30 at the moment, but with the wind chill, it still feels like it's 19. So, yeah, and then of course with that you got like cold temperatures, you get black ice and stuff. So it's just going to be a great day.
Yeah, wonderful day. Stay indoors if you can, and I can, so I'm going to stay indoors as much as I can.
Exactly.
Although I did sneak outdoors a little bit yesterday, just out front, because my 5-year-old grandson came running down to the house early in the morning. Granddad, there's snow outside. There's snow outside.
Aww.
And he was making snowballs and making snow angels, and he said, "Granddad, make a snow angel with me." Little buddy, if your granddad got down on his back in the snow, that'd be the end of it.
You're like, I would not be getting back up. That angel would be there forever.
And I would just, someday like a frozen specimen in the Arctic, they would unthaw and say, "Whoa, who's this guy here?"
Yeah, it was like that good snow too for like snowballs. It was like packable snow.
Yeah, it really was.
It was pretty. Now we're just dealing with like. Sorry.
What do we look forward to now that so now we're not going to see snow. We're going to see cold temperatures much of the day. Give me a glance ahead of today and the next couple of days.
Yeah, so like today, this afternoon, luckily will look nice as well because the clouds are going to dissipate. So we'll have like clear skies this afternoon, but then overnight into tomorrow, we're going to have some clouds building up for tomorrow, getting up into the low to mid 40s. So warming a little bit more, and those winds will die down luckily, so it'll feel more like the actual temperature you're seeing outside. Getting into Friday, high of 46. We might see a couple rain showers on Friday afternoon pretty much, but it's not going to be anything like Monday, luckily. It's going to be like, it's not going to be an all-day event like it was on Monday, so it'll be nice. And then for the weekend, we might see some flurries again, but nothing like yesterday.
Yeah. All right, well, we got our first taste of winter. The roads were not any problem yesterday. I did have to go out a little bit, but I did notice a lot of people were very cautious yesterday. I was checking things on Facebook. A lot of people were saying stay home. They weren't going to go out. The first snow of the season, no matter how bad or good it is, first snow of the season, everybody gets a little antsy because we haven't practiced for a year. So.
Yeah, it seemed like the people with whoever does the roads, they really did their job right yesterday. They were very ahead of it, which is good. None of the roads seemed too bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, listen, it's good talking to you. We'll try and get to a normal schedule tomorrow. I'm a little off base this morning, and I understood Paul Harris gave you kind of short shrift on Monday. I didn't get a chance to listen, but
not a big deal.
he's an attorney. What do you expect from attorneys? But thanks for joining us today. You're with us the rest of the week, the next couple of days, right?
Yeah, I'm here tomorrow and Friday as well.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you tomorrow and take a little more time.
Just taking a little break.
We'll chat a little more tomorrow when we have longer time. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it, Aaron. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. All right. Bye-bye. 10 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. So, yeah, somebody told me that Paul gave him kind of short shrift on Monday. Is that true, Biffy?
I don't think he did. I don't think
Okay,
Paul did.
maybe not.
I mean, he just, asked him, you're basically the same stuff you do. I mean, what's the, weather for today and, about the snow and, what was it going to be like for the rest of the week and maybe into the weekend. No, I mean, nothing that you wouldn't have asked.
I had committed myself when we got back to business today to trying to really, 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 really stay on schedule. I mean, I really had. I spent some time over the last few days since I was home in the mornings and up and awake, listening to some of the big time talk show stations across the country. And one thing that really struck me was how well timed they are. Everybody stays on time and does what they're supposed to when they're supposed to and so on. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try and get to be like that when I come back. And it's now 10 till the hour, and I have the 7:30 break coming up. So. But part of it, you did that for a reason, because sometimes I think you folks don't understand. I do like your phone calls. When we have a guest on the line, that's a different story. But I like your phone calls. And Steve from St. C has no problem calling. He has no problem calling. Feel free to use the CityNet hotline if you'd like to at 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK. And you can always text us. I always put the text line up there, 304-214-1600. But I wanted to get Steve in because I just want to make the point that we could certainly have good conversation on the phone lines. Don't be afraid to use them. I think a lot of people are afraid to call in. Now, again, if we got a guest in the studio or something, or a guest on the line, I don't generally take calls during the guest time. But other than that, you want to chat, feel free to do so. Speaking of guests, coming up next hour, Pete Trabucco with us. Pete's been with us before. He's a travel writer. We first put him on to talk about a couple of books he's written, which are about going to amusement parks, thriller rides, and so on. And he's been back to talk about that and some of the new ones every summer, the last couple of summers. But we'll talk about traveling during the Christmas season coming up with Pete in a minute. But let's get Biffy. We're going to get to quick Channel 7 news, and, of course, Mr. DeFabio's got sports for us.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your...
games. Starting time for this afternoon's contest at Heinz Field, 3:40. By the way, NBC will carry the game. Are you ready for a great college basketball matchup tonight? 11th ranked West Virginia will face the number 1 ranked team in the nation, Gonzaga. That's 7 o'clock. And you can hear the game on WKKX and WVLY. By the way, both teams are unbeaten. A great matchup tonight in college basketball and on the radio. Hey, be safe out there. Be considerate of others. Check on the elderly. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports on AM 1600, and we are, and always will be, your watchdog.
The perfect cure for your quarantine blues. The Watchdog on Facebook Live. Watch The Watchdog weekdays on Facebook Live, beginning with the morning show with Howard Monroe at 7 a.m. Local talk radio, Watchdog style. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-8255.
Conversation you care about from people you know. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
This has been kind of our leftover hours, things we didn't get around to talking about since I was away for a whole week. So primarily the Super 6 so far. I have a couple other stories I want to just touch on that happened while I was gone that are worth a bit of conversation or two. But first off, to the text line on this issue of the Super 6, which was canceled. The final, well, the Super 6 itself was actually canceled. Champions were named, but they were champions by default. Just their schools didn't end up with COVID in the bad COVID time, so they got to be the champions. I still don't understand. I don't understand why we didn't cancel the whole thing ahead of time and just call it a year without the championship game, but we didn't. But at least I think you got to put an asterisk beside these kids' name. And it's my understanding what Bernie Dolan said to Hoppy on Monday is that the record books will not reflect that this was an unusual year. And I think that's wrong. A couple of texts on that subject. It's actually a pretty good point. However, the state championship trophies aren't even participation trophies because the teams didn't even participate. It's a good point. You know, a lot of people say, you know, these days we coddle these kids, we give them participation trophies. This isn't even participation. They didn't even play a game.
I didn't even think of that.
A trophy.
I didn't even think of it that way.
That's a pretty good perspective. I like that. Text line 304-214-1600. Since our three football teams could not play, can we still have the Super 6? Oh, this is from before. I'm sorry. I think that the Super 6 thing is bull. There should have been no winner. Just cancel the games. Again, my opinion as well. Just we should have said not have it. All right. So again, that will be, unless you want to call and talk about it. That's going to be my ending conversation on the Super 6 for now. One of the other stories that came across while I was gone is apparently they're going to take an effort again this year, Biffy, to try to get rid of dog racing at Wheeling Downs and elsewhere around the state. That Gray 2K group feels they had some success in some of the elections this past month ago. And so now they're thinking they're going to try and resurrect the make greyhound racing illegal issue in the state. We will talk about that tomorrow with Erica Storch, who has really strong opinions about this, and she is not in agreement with that whatsoever. Delegate Storch will be with us tomorrow here on the show. Well, it's just about 8 o'clock. Let's check in with ABC. Their cover of the world. Then Pete Trabucco is going to join us. We have a DC Digest to get to and some COVID numbers to talk about. And I got a couple of fun stories off the sidelight of the news. So try to get to all of that coming up as the Watchdog Morning Show continues for Hump Day. Hump Day.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling. FM 97.7, AM 1370, WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
I'm Sherry Preston. Pfizer's
Hey, Biff. If you have a chance, maybe today or tomorrow at the latest, try and get those new drops in, will you? I think I sent them to you last week, right? Okay. Let's cycle those in and get the old ones out for the time being, and then we can mix them all together later, maybe. And the new ones I gave you we can use it for both rejoins and for opens. But they're, just a little more variety. So if you could, maybe just use the new ones exclusively for a while. And then maybe after the first of the year, we'll pull some of those are holiday greetings or holiday intros. When we pull the holiday intros after January, maybe just mix everything back together again. If you can. I'm not trying to give you extra work to do, but whenever you can, I'd appreciate it. I got you. Not a problem. Okay. That's fine. Not a problem. Not a problem. I just want to really just want to make sure that you got them. So, but if we keep. Yep. Not a problem. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, not a problem. Let's try to just use all of the new ones for the next few weeks, and then afterwards, because about half of those have holiday greetings mixed in with the intro, so we'll get rid of the holiday after the holiday, and we can just mix everything back together again, if that works for you. Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay. Appreciate it. Yeah, he texted me this morning just to remind me, so I told him we'd call him. I use him from time to time. He's entertaining, but he had texted me last week, and he does it frequently. Sends me a note saying I'm available. So I'm available. I thought, well, I'm trying to move us away from all COVID and all. We got the election, we got COVID, just dominate everything. So I thought I'm trying to get some other stuff mixed in. So I figured that's something we could do. I hope not. We'll find out when the interview's over. All right. I'm not going to get to half this stuff I have here.